Well, hello and welcome to Inspiring Moments, the Dr. Amy Show. I am your host, Dr. Amy Himes, and I want to say thank you for joining us today on the show. I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the next 30 minutes of information that is designed to enhance your mind by sharing some uplifting success tips and strategies to help you to get on par to live a fuller, more prosperous life. Now, this is a personal development show, and I am a practicing psychologist, an entrepreneur, and success coach, and I specialize in helping individuals to change their thinking and behavior so they can get back on track to live the life and move on to the next level of success. Now, our goal on this show is to inspire, to motivate, and to teach you how to cultivate a success mindset. So we would like for you to consider this show as your portal to success. And today we'll be talking about women empowerment and how we can use the art of war to unleash our full potential and get on the road to ultimate success. So today we're talking about Sun Tzu, Art of War, and this is a book that was written by an ancient warrior sage in China over 2,500 years ago, and it's been studied by Eastern and Western strategists, both military and non-military, for centuries. So the Art of War is actually a Chinese military treatise that is attributed to Sun Tzu, a military strategist who was active in the late 6th century BC. Now, this book is composed of about 13 chapters, I think, and each one is devoted to one aspect of warfare, and it's said to be a definitive work on military strategies and tactics of its time. And it's still read by its military, it's still read and valued for its military insights. Now, let me tell you, The Art of War is one of the oldest and most successful books on military strategy in the world, and it's had an influence on Eastern military thinking, on business tactics, and beyond. So Sun Tzu emphasized the importance of positioning in military strategy, and that the decisions that can be made to position an army must be based, and that's what they said, the position must be based on both objective conditions in the physical environment and the subjective beliefs of other competitive actors in that environment. And he thought that strategy was not planning in the sense of working through an established list, but rather that it requires quick and appropriate responses to changing conditions. So, in other words, it was believed that planning works in a control environment, but in a changing environment, competing plans actually collide, which creates that unexpected situation. So now listen to this. Most people react to challenges using their natural, that fight or flight response. And this type of response to life's challenges and obstacles is really the #1 cause of failure in life. This is why so many people fail. Well, General Sun Tzu discovered a winning loophole in nature, and he found a success strategy that actually enables the weak to actually triumph over the strong. Now, originally, his treaty was only available throughout history to the ruling classes of China and not to the ordinary. So if you've never heard about this, go and research and find out a little bit more about it. So it wasn't available to ordinary people. Now, it's my understanding that Sun Tzu of War success strategy is far from being just about war, but rather it's actually about encouraging us to avoid war or conflict by using strategy to bend others and bring them to our side instead, so to bring them to us. So Sun Tzu's success strategy has two basic parts. First is identifying what is your position in business or in life, and then second, how do you actually advance that position? Well, I'm telling you, my guest today took those strategies and compiled them into a success strategies book for women called Sun Tzu for Women. And this new book can help women understand and cultivate their competitive advantages. So women, listen up. The author of this book says that many men already know this classic strategy very well and that they're actually using it to be more effective leaders and implementers. So we need to get on board. But for women, we're not doing the same thing. We're not using these strategies. And she says that as women, we have a great deal to learn from Sun Tzu because overall, the average woman has not read or really doesn't know about Sun Tzu. So we're going to talk about this today. And Sun Tzu for Women shows readers how to first understand and then effectively internalize the Sun Tzu strategies to advance our careers and improve our business. So does that sound like some strategies that you can use? Let me tell you, this book not only fosters understanding of Sun Tzu, but also fosters a deep understanding of ourselves, our conditions, and those around us. So Sun Tzu for Women will actually help you and help these readers, help you as a reader to define and develop the mentality and inner tenacity that will elevate you or elevate the average woman to the pinnacle of your potential. So Sun Tzu for Women is about the journey from where you are today. It'll take you from where you are to where you desire to go and actually help you to become that person that you want to be. Now, it's my understanding that Sun Tzu for Women can change the way many women understand and feel about fear and the devastating consequences that fear can have on us. So we all need to learn some strategies to get over fear. So for Sun Tzu, fear is a deeply motivating factor. It's it's not something to be avoided. So another important theme is the importance for each woman to be authentic. And this carries with it many challenges because many of us allow our self-limiting beliefs to control our destiny. And you know what self-limiting beliefs are, right? It's those things that we just keep in our mind from our past and we allow those things to actually control us now. So what I want to do right now, I want to introduce you to my guest. She is the author of a new book that's called Sun Tzu for Women. And her name is Becky Sheets-Runkle. And Becky, I want to say welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now that was a mouthful to talk about Sun Tzu and also Sun Tzu for Women. So I'm very excited to have you here to break down some of these strategies. Excellent. And I went kind of quickly talking a little bit about the history of Sun Tzu. So I just wrote down a whole list of questions because I don't want to miss anything. I want my listeners to really leave here today understanding about Sun Tzu, because when I read your book and you said that we as women, that men are taking higher steps because we don't know about it. So I want you to help us to understand this strategy. So the first thing I want to say is tell us a little bit about the Sun Tzu, that whole theory, and what the art of war is really all about.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. Well, you covered it very well. You gave us a lot of background. As you said, Sun Tzu was a military strategist 2,500 years ago.
Yes.
He wrote The Art of War. We don't know a great deal about the historical Sun Tzu, but we know about The Art of War. That's what he left behind. It is a treatise of military strategy, as you said. It is concise. It is partially, I think it's so brilliant because it's so concise, because it's so brief. It's 7,000 words, 13 chapters. And it's very largely, it's military strategy, as you said, but what we're using it today in a modern context, those of us who aren't engaging in warfare, who are engaging in business, are using war as a metaphor for becoming more successful in business and in our careers. That does not mean that we are being aggressive with the competition necessarily, or that we are asserting ourselves in a masculine manner. What Sun Tzu for Women does is it brings Sun Tzu, it introduces in many ways Sun Tzu to women in business and helps us to utilize our feminine attributes, to utilize our competitive advantages, not so that we act like men and do what they do to be successful, but we act like how we should unleash our true potential to be successful.
Now I have to go back for a moment, and what I want to ask you, I know when I really did not know much about this particular concept until I was introduced to your book. So I went and did some reading. I found out a little bit about Sun Tzu, but I am a student of Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich.
Sure.
So when you talk about those strategies, if we can go back for a moment and just give a little bit, I'm hoping to get a little bit more understanding of Sun Tzu. I know you said it over 2,500 years ago.
Right.
What is really the concept then, if you can talk about ancient success strategies or universal law, what, before we actually get into Sun Tzu for women, again, trying to put the basis there so people can understand where this comes from?
Sure. It's really all about battlefield strategy.
Okay.
It's about how I think you mentioned a smaller force in some instances. In some instances you're the smaller force, in some instances you're not. Okay. And when you're the smaller force, you may be an entrepreneur, you may be less well funded, or whatever it may be. It's how to enable you to take an advantage over the competition with such considerations as understanding yourself, understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, making allowances for or compensating for or strengthening your weaknesses, understanding the competition. It's knowing when to fight and when not to fight.
That's major.
It is major. It is absolutely major. Sun Tzu said that he who knows when to fight and when not to fight will be victorious.
You don't lose.
You don't make mistakes. So he's writing philosophically, right, about not making mistakes. As a general, leading men in a battle will make a mistake. Well, mistakes are made. You and I make mistakes probably every day. So our standard has to be excellence, but it's not perfection. Right. Kind of what does that mean to you to be excellent? So many times women fall into the perfection paradox, where we hold ourselves to these high standards, which is a good thing. We lose out. Yes. I use an example of a contract in an architectural firm where a man and woman partners. They made a mistake on the contract. The woman was ready to give in for the day. She said, oh my gosh, she was just devastated. The man worked through the night and fixed the problem. They got the contract. Yeah. So you see what excellence, you see the impact that that mistakes can have. And
I always say it's important to strive for excellence rather than perfection. So today we are talking about success strategies, and I have with me the author of a new book, Sun Tzu for Women. We're going to take a break right now, and you want to be sure to stay tuned and join us, because when we come back, we're going to give you some strategies from this book that you can use. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Well, I'm telling you, the time just went by so fast. So I want to say to you, go out and get a copy of this new book by Becky. It's called Sun Tzu for Women. But because the time went by so fast, I am going to invite Becky back, and we're going to do a continuation show. So I want to say to you, join me on the web. Send me your emails at dramy@amyhimes.com. And I want to say thank you for joining us today, and tune in the next time.